Alright, CIS-332, D10, 227.17. Okay. We went over some things in class like show table, show create table, and then you can list the table here, SQL. That gives you more information about the table than I described. We talked about the client table that we had made for the bank list. We talked about the relationship between those, where you're in the client you put in which bank they had and how you tied that back to the attribute in bank list. And then I went back and reviewed. We had Code Academy, and we had all those things we did on Code Academy. And I suggested at the time, make sure you keep notes. Another option is Khan Academy if you want to get more information. By keeping these notes, you would be able to repeat the commands. So this was first. We did a Code Academy, then we did assignment 1, step by step, and then assignment 2, you had to figure out the commands. Then we did, for the skills base, we did a practice. Alright, today in class we worked at adding yourself to a record. For the clients, this was Ian's, and Ian had tied his client database back to the bank list, which meant when you add it yourself, you had to make sure you used one of the banks that were there. Otherwise, it wouldn't let you add it. More on that later on. So we're starting out looking at simple examples and how we can diagram the design. Entity relationship diagrams. So we used the example, we had the rental from the test, or the first exam, customer, devices, and checkouts, what I call them. Some people call them rentals and so forth. So we'd have these would be squares, checkout would be squares, these would be, could be entities, and then you form the relationships between them. This isn't exactly the way we do it, but this was a lead up to that work. You should be keeping track of the basic commands that you need to use. And then we talked about relationships between the bank list and the client. I had mentioned that the client has to have a bank. Okay, but a bank could be listed with no clients. And if a bank one bank could have many clients. We're going to work more on that. We'll keep working on that with ER diagrams. The next assignment, you have to create your own database. You need to get some ideas, 2 or 3 entities. We have an example, and this example will come up again in a future class, in which we have an artist. An artist compiles an album. The album has to have an artist. One artist can have many albums. Okay? So we will be working on ER diagrams from here on. And in the ER diagrams, we'll look at an entity and some relationship to another entity. And if you think about the constraints we talked about, one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, and we'll talk about other constraints like mandatory and so forth. Alright, that's it for this one.